Hello YouTubers. This may look like a small disaster, but it's actually a work in progress. I did a trip down to Birmingham for the Vintage Festival down there. It's the world's largest motorcycle museum, so I highly recommend it to everybody. If you get a chance to go down there, it's usually the late September, early October, sometime around there. A lot of racing, a lot of good vintage bikes and stuff like that. The bike did great on the trip. The stereo system basically took a crap. I had the Pile Hydra. A channel went out on it. Which one's the original? Yeah, this is the original Planet Audio. They don't rank very high as far as in 2019 there was a quality well, where these rank at, and this one ranked number 10. This one also had a channel out. Gentleman had one that was an open box, and I bought this, and the backlight would only come on, so I went and I found the #1 radio that was recommended online, and it was from Boss Audio. And these use the same case as that other radio over there, and the same faceplate, the same layout, but the internals are different. And in previous videos I've showed you how I did this metal frame up over my system. Now what this is for is when I'm night riding, I put that over that, and it stops the glare from getting on my windshield and give me a heads-up display. I took a piece of cedar, cut it out, and put me a voltage thing right there, and I painted all this black, so being as that cedar, it won't rust, and it's just right up there and it's very visible. But one of the big problems, and I've been working on this for a while, is the original guy who done this for me, and it's not his fault. He basically unplugged the radio and plugged everything back into the system. And this is a 1988 motorcycle, and these wires are not in good shape. I'm getting good power for my clock, so I hooked into that, but as you can see right here, I bypassed and went down, and I went to this auxiliary fuse box that I have right here, and I plugged it in here. This one has all your negative up here, your positives down here, and this has been a great accessory system on this. You can see where I replaced my main fuse with a resettable relay. I got thinking about that. A fuse only has one life, but a relay can be reset, hundreds of times. But part of this, him reusing the wiring, also came when he wired up these front speakers. He hooked in the old system. Now these are Pile bullet speakers, and they have been really good. You see these on a lot of Harley Davidsons. Now I made a little angle bracket here coming off my wind jammer and tied it in there to there. It's really strong, and you see how I got these kind of jammed up. I got these up high enough to where they don't hit my knees no more. That was important. But I rewired these. The blue wires are what's coming from the bullet speakers. But I found out that my front speakers were wired into the Honda system, and it would sometimes work, sometimes not work. So yesterday I took these off and I got some wiring, and where did it go? Yeah. This is like a 16, what does it say? 16 gauge 16 gauge wire, and this is a bundle that's used mostly on like lamps and other stuff like that, and it works perfectly. I got a couple bundles of these. I don't know where I got them from. I've had them for years, and one side is square and the other side is round. The square side always goes to negative, and the round always goes to positive. And I pulled out enough and I ran it through. You can see how I punched a hole right there, and I ran it up to the speakers. And I ran them back. Let me get rid of that. And inside my trunk here, I got a small amp. Audio pipe is the name of it. And it's going to fit right up here, down low. You see, it's not going to take up much room. And there's a hole. Let me look at it from the front side. See how that hole was cut in the back of the trunk? Well, that was already there when I got the bike. So you can see all my wiring is coming out, and I've had to redo all this stuff. And this, let me turn it where we can see it. Well, yeah. There, right there is where stuff comes into it. You can adjust it, and this is where the speakers that go out. And there's the power. And I checked the power system, and it's going to my fuse blocks over there. So what I got to do now is wire up my front. I'm going to have to cut. It'll be the white one and the gray one. That'll go to these two. And then I'll test it out again and put it back together. But I wanted to show you guys this, in case you get into this. You got to rip a lot of crap off this bike just to get to the stuff. And you can see how tight things are packed underneath here. This is wire harness. It's a relay system that goes to run these front lights. These are a 48 watt, actually a tractor light. And I was wanting more of a spotlight to get out there further, but this is it's 48 watt, and it absolutely, from here to past them bushes, lights up everything. I could see a pebble on the road. But yeah, if you guys get a chance, and if you want to keep your 1500, this is a good way to get a really good stereo system on there. And I had the lid. That's why there was a hinge right there. And it got to where it was too much trouble. That big old thing flipping up out of the way. So I ended up using something like this, and I used magnets on the bottom. That's two just angle pieces, a flat piece of plastic, and it stays on there. And I use that Gorilla Glue to put them down with. But while I was at it, I did my winter service, getting this booger ready. This one has a USB outlet, which I plug a jump drive into, which this will go to this right here, and it's in my box over there. That's where I put my jump drive. And I got about 12 gigs of music on it, so I got plenty of stuff. These have weather band and stuff like that on there, which is great. But just wanted to show you how much trouble it is to get to this. And you even have to take that stuff off. The windshield is supposed to come off, but I cannot get this bolt and this bolt off. And both of them are jammed up in place. Now the windshield's okay, and I'll just retighten the rest of these. But I plan on getting rid of this bike here pretty soon. Going with a concourse, knock off 300 pounds and up my ability to do everything. But there were some good tips and pointers. This is an automotive speaker, plastic with foam edges right there, and when it's set up and running good, it sounds good. But it hasn't had a chance to really shine because of the wiring problems. But when you do these up, if you bypass the Honda stuff, go straight to your own wiring and bypass that. Now, being an 88, you'll notice that this came on an 89 and after. And on that trip I took down to Birmingham, I was having vapor lock because this damn tank was getting heat soaked, and it would just lock up, and I'd having to pop the cap loose and drive the motorcycle that way, which I didn't like, and it would sit there and howl and make noises, and then I popped it and it quit. But that's where I'm at. I wanted to show you guys what's all going on. Let's see, I'll get that mounted though like that. Got my instructions here, so I got my work cut out for me. But that's where I'm at. And anyhow, you guys have a good, and I hope this helps you guys out on the GL1500s. And whenever you work on them, get prepared to take most of the body off just to get to anything. But anyhow, you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next video. Later.